Hi, and welcome to the 7th episode of SteamLUG Cast. My name is Cheese, and with me I have John.
Hey everyone, it's good to be back.
And Meklu, filling in for Swordfisher.
Hello, audience. Sorry to let you down by saying that I'm not actually Swordfisher, as was just stated.
I said filling in for Swordfisher.
Yeah, I know that.
Great start. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that was good. That's good. Thanks, guys. So Meklu, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do. You one of the sort of founding SteamLUG type people.
Yeah, I founded the ISC channel back in 2011. It was August, I think.
Oh, let's call this an anniversary then.
Yeah, we could say so.
We will say so.
But it's a lie. I don't think it was the 24th, but I think it may have been the 20-somethingth.
It's close enough.
If I'm not terribly mistaken.
We're going to enjoy cake, and you can sit in the corner and not have any of it.
Yay! No wait, that leaves me without cake.
That's good for me.
You guys are me.
Alrighty, so as far as community stuff recently goes, we've been having a whole lot of events, which I sadly have been too busy to attend, but I did get a chance to join our TF2 event last week, where we played for 3 or so hours and had a mostly full server. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I should probably catch everyone up. I've been busy as sin, so I haven't played any events or been on GitHub or done anything in the last fortnight, which is pretty terrible of me. But this next week's light, so I'm going to be around. We're actually playing Serious Sam 3 this coming Thursday, and I expect you all to be there. It should be fun.
It's a very serious game. I like it.
And is that the DLC stuff again, or just vanilla Serious Sam?
Just vanilla. I'm wondering if we can do either a different mode or maybe explore for secrets or something.
Yeah, it'd be good to kind of shake things up and do something a little bit different. Coming up, we also have Counter-Strike Source, Killing Floor, and Team Fortress 2 as well.
Yep, that's over the next week, and we haven't actually organised anything for the week afterwards. That's starting in September, but give us some games you'd like to play together, and we'll organise it.
Yep. As always, there is the suggestion thread, which people can pop something in if they need, and we'll see what we can get organised. Moving on, last week was the 7-day first-person shooter challenge week, and the SteamLUG team had been working on a game called Haunt, which I mentioned last cast. We ran into some hurdles with some of the Source SDK tools, which are Windows only and were not quite behaving under Wine. But we've been making a little bit of forward progress there. There's been a port of a couple of the mapping tools, and there might be a port in the works of one of the model conversion tools that we will need. So hopefully we'll have something to show soon. We're planning to continue working with it until we have something that's playable, and then we'll set up an event and invite everyone to play along with us. It'll be good.
Could you describe the game? I mean, does it have ghosts?
Yeah, so I went into a bit more detail last week, but basically the idea is that we've got an asymmetric multiplayer survival game where we have a team of live humans, and their goal is to get to a safe zone. They have limited supply of lamp oil, and they have these lanterns that they can shine around. And one player is a ghost. The ghost has the ability to kill the humans on touch, but they're slowed down or impeded by the lantern that the human players have. And so there's this idea of everybody has to sort of strategically use their lanterns to protect and look after each other, whilst also exploring to find the exit and scavenging for more supplies.
So how far's progress in that? Is it just held up with the tools?
Yeah, so we've got most of the gameplay stuff that we want to do. We've got the first implementation of, but we hadn't actually gotten a map built that explored the kind of gameplay that we wanted to have. So we haven't really had a chance to test anything. So yeah, I suspect we'll probably iterate quite a bit on what we've got, but we've hit most of the major beats already, and we've got ideas for maps, we've got most of the code for the gameplay done, we've got weapon models done, we've got ammo models done. It's just that at the moment everything's just using Half-Life 2 DM assets, and that's the stuff that we've got to replace.
Awesome. Did you have any extra members join after the last cast?
As far as the SteamLUG team goes, I don't think so. I think we're still kind of hovering around that sort of 6 to 7 people
Okay.
mark, and I can't remember everyone's names off the top of my head. Sorry, guys.
Let's get on to Steam and Valve news. It's rather sad that Swordfisher is not here today, as the game he's been waiting so long finally arrived. Counter-Strike Condition Zero.
He exploded when it appeared.
Deleted scene. Yes, I tweeted it and he went mental at me.
I would have gone mental, but I think I missed the time window, and Swordfisher got to go mental before me. He stole all the credits.
He's a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
So as John said, he's been pretty busy, so we haven't had our ear to the ground on GitHub lately, sadly.
So we're going to move on to a new title that launched on Steam recently, Hate Plus. Do you know anything about this game, Cheese?
So from what I understand, it's related to Analog, but I don't know a lot about the game itself. It's
As far as I'm aware, it's a sequel to it directly, of Analog, A Hate Story.
Yeah, so it's another RenPy game.
And what's RenPy?
It's probably one of the most prolific Linux-compatible engines around. It's geared towards
Visual novels? I think it was that.
yeah, visual novels. Yeah,
And basically, there's this fun joke going around that Desura, most of their catalog is just a bunch of RenPy titles by
they do have a lot.
well, amateur developers who charge $20 for little to no content. So it's got a bit of a bad rap for that.
Oh, I see.
There's a good selection of other stuff on Desura, but given the sort of ratio of RenPy games to other games, as far as stuff that supports Linux goes, it's probably not surprising that there is a significant portion of visual novels there.
I imagine it probably helps that it's probably easy to develop for, so that's probably another likely reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's easy to work with.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's very excited about it, and she says that she's going to be playing it a lot over the next coming weeks. So maybe I'll interrogate her a little bit. Moving on to gaming news and stuff. Actually, what have you guys been playing over the past couple of weeks?
I've been playing work and a bit of work.
That's my favourite game.
Yeah, I'm out. I'll pass this to Meklu. What have you been playing?
Well, in the past few weeks, I've been playing Duke Nukem 3D Megaton Edition.
Wow.
Since I never got to play it before.
Oh, wow.
For I am a youngster. As awful as it may sound.
And how do you find it now, looking at it from a sort of today type perspective, as opposed to the historical filters that the rest of us are probably seeing it through?
Oh, it's I actually find it pretty enjoyable. I don't mind the retro look too badly. It's solid, it's fairly fast paced, since autorun is on by default, which makes the character traverse the map in roughly 3.5 seconds. It's nice that you'll actually have to think your way through some of the levels, unlike in some modern on-the-rails shooters, where they hold your hand and tell you to go from point A to point B. On the other hand, I've enjoyed Serious Sam as well, so there's that, I guess.
How have you found exploring the levels? Because I know games of that era, sometimes you'd actually have to look all over to actually find where you're going. have you played many of those sort of games before?
Well, I don't think so. Not really, apart from Serious Sam, as I mentioned. But I find that type of gameplay pretty good and nice. Just all around happy thoughts.
Any other games at all?
Well, recently I managed to find some time to sit down and play through the Hard Times DLC for Rochard, which doesn't have much of a story focus to it, which is slightly disappointing, but geez, it's hard. It is awesomely difficult. I really enjoyed battling through that. It's compared to the original game itself, it is many times more fiendish, which was quite nice to see. I mean, the first one was definitely enjoyable, but it did kind of feel like it landed on the easy side of things and could have done with a slightly higher difficulty. But yeah, so that was fantastic.
So have they made it harder? Are the puzzles more complicated? Are the enemies just tougher to remove?
No, it's all puzzle difficulty. There are also a few new elements that they've added in, which are a bit more dynamic, I guess, a lot more reactive.
Neat.
But yeah, it's lots of fun. I just spent the last 3 to 4 days playing through all of the 7-day first-person shooter games which support Linux. At the time that I pulled my list of Linux-compatible titles, that was very close to 80 out of, I think, 270 completed titles. So that's somewhere not far from a third, which is pretty good numbers.
Did you manage to have a look at the engines for that? Is that all Unity?
The vast majority of it is Unity, which is interesting to see. There are a couple of common issues which I've been hoping or trying to sort of help developers realize and kind of deal with. Obviously, anybody on Windows can't set executable permissions of the Unity binary, so I've kind of been recommending to people that they throw something in a README. There also seem to be quite a number of titles which have issues with mouse grab, where they're not locking the screen to the cursor to the center of the screen, and it's escaping the window.
That's quite a regular Unity
thing.
issue, yeah.
So apparently that's more prominent in the later versions of Unity. I don't know too much about what's going on there, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that most of the 7-day FPS titles don't have that issue, but probably about a quarter, maybe quarter to a third of the Linux compatible ones do. But there are some fantastic, really interesting games that people have been playing with there. I just recently published an article on Gaming on Linux that lists them all and talks about what they're about. I also interviewed a couple of Linux developers who participated, and it's a good read if anybody's got time to read. And I got to play some TF2 finally with everybody as well for that TF2 event that we mentioned earlier. So I've had a pretty good gaming fortnight, I think.
Awesome. I'm glad you've managed to have more time recently to game, because you said recently you just not had time for it.
Yeah, I don't know that I've been playing a lot of stuff that I would choose to play, but it's been nice to just sit back and absorb other people instead of working only on my own stuff.
Good Old Games have started a self-publishing sort of access to their market for indies. And if you actually have a look at the link, gog.com/indie, and scroll down the page, you'll notice that under platforms they've got a Windows, a Mac, and an other tick box. And I thought that was interesting. And of course, with some of the news we've had from, they were looking for developers that knew Qt and all the 3 major OSs, that they might be looking to capture an awful lot of the sort of indie dev market and quite a few of the Humble Bundle sort of. It's definitely looking up for Linux gamers, I reckon.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's a positive development for them to actually allow self-publishing from now on their service, since they
I think now that they've got a reputation established, they're in a position where they can do that now.
Yeah.
You know, they've already got the
Yeah.
people following them to make it happen without feeling like they're diluting what they're doing.
Yeah, and after the rebranding from Good Old Games to playing GOG, they now have the ability to take on board some newer games as well, newer titles.
Yeah. And what I found interesting was Steam's been gradually trying to move to, you know, this ability to act sort of like Apple's store, where they can, you know, grant access to their marketplace through Greenlight, and GOG has gone from, you know, requiring sort of having a publisher to, you know, they've basically steamed right past Steam needing Greenlight to being basically as open as Android nearly. Of course, they've still got to prove it, but we shall see possibly, you know, how close they get on the sort of openness scale of marketplaces.
Yeah.
My understanding of how GOG previously worked, or how it still works, I guess, was that they went out and chased down developers themselves, and that involvement of a publisher specifically wasn't a real requirement.
Well, that's just because they were small at the time. Before this, how would you get on GOG? Because an awful lot of recent games have been added to it, and I don't think they'd have gone out of the way to look for them, would they?
I think that they'd kind of been working with a couple of publishers, yeah. But yeah, they've got Trine and stuff on there as well, so they're definitely communicating directly with developers.
Yep, they're definitely expanding.
But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what comes of this. So moving on, last week, I think it was, Race the Sun got its final 1.0 release, which is pretty awesome. I don't know, have you guys had a chance to check that out or have a play of it at all? I backed the crowdfunding campaign, so I've been playing it since day one.
I played one of the prototypes quite a while ago. I haven't actually looked at it since.
I unfortunately have to admit that I haven't played the thing, nor any possible prototypes.
It's quite okay. There's no shame in not getting around to every single game possible.
Yeah, that's alright. So it's like a kind of arcade flying racer thing, and it's got this kind of really at once sort of retro polygon feel, you know, very very angular and flat for the most part, I guess, and very geometric. But at the same time, it does kind of feel modern as well. Yeah, it's fun.
Does it have Peppy shouting, "Do a barrel roll" into your headset?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
It has any voices, but it does have giant blue glowing pyramid things.
Okay, that was a Star Fox reference for anyone that didn't get it.
Gone Home was recently launched, and I haven't had a chance to play this, but everybody is very excited about it, and I think they're going to be convinced to buy it soon and check it out.
Yeah, it's been as noisy as Journey on Twitter. People seem really excited about it. It's sort of an exploration game set around a house. You've been out of the country or something, and you've come back after a year, and you're finding out what's happened to your family that lived here. And it sounds absolutely lovely.
And so it's first person, kind of. I don't know that it has any. Is it puzzle oriented? I haven't been able to kind of really divine too much from it.
I think it's exploration oriented, but I can't vouch for that statement.
As far as I'm aware, if there are puzzles, they're pretty minimal.
Yeah.
Just from people talking about it, third hand.
SteamLUG, where we do all the research.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, it certainly looks well polished, and I'm looking forward to checking it out.
So you included a link to Nightwasher screenshots. I don't know anything about this, so would you describe it, please?
I am frothing at the mouth about this game. I am absolutely in love with the concept. So, Legend of the Nightwasher is a isometric
It's an isometric adventure game in which you play as a knight that happens to be a washing machine.
A washing machine. Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
That sounds odd.
But I think it is.
It sounds awesome.
I have go and vote for this on Greenlight. Go and vote right now. Do it if you haven't already. It is very exciting for me. And I have promised the developer that I will cosplay as the Night Watcher if it gets greenlit or when it's closer to launch or something. I will dress up and take many photos. It's good to see that because things have been fairly quiet. I think this first hit Greenlight pretty much as soon as Greenlight launched, and there haven't been any kind of real development updates on where things are at until now. And the developers just put up a blog, released a whole bunch of new screenshots after about a year's worth of silence. So it sounds like things are starting to move ahead there, and I'm very excited to see things moving forward. So it's good. So you'd heard of it before, had you, Meklu? Or were you just reading the blurb?
I was reading a bunch of the stuff on our run sheets. And I just blacked out. Sorry, guys.
You absolutely owned the amount of presents you gave to that. Is brilliant.
It was awesome. It sounded like you knew exactly what you were talking about. Yeah. So we'll cut this bit out in the edit, and you'll be king.
Will we? Okay, yeah, I will.
I don't trust John to cut it out.
I cut everything out, even Cheese's ums.
Yay!
At least as many as I can. What is cannons, lasers, rockets?
It's like a sort of arcadey space MMO thing where you shoot people as a spaceship.
Oh.
It's just hit to zero. It looks fairly well built. It kind of seems to have come out of the blue. I hadn't heard of it before.
People don't live in space. You can't shoot people with a spaceship, right?
The other people who are also spaceships.
People that are spaceships.
You ruined it.
So, how close is it to Vendetta, which is another space MMO?
I actually haven't really played Vendetta much, but I get the impression that this one is a little bit more just combat oriented and nothing else.
It looks very similar.
Wasn't Vendetta Online kind of more than just like it was 4X type stuff rather than just PvP combat?
Yeah, it's sort of a mini Eve, really.
Yeah. Eve's classified as 4X, isn't it? That's exploration.
Extermination?
Yeah, some of them things, which just means that it's one of those games where you can buy stuff and explore and be a pirate and do whatever you want. It's very snazzy and well used in the space trading game genre, but not a term I'm familiar enough with to say what it means. Sorry.
Explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate.
That's the one.
Brilliant. Moving onwards.
Yeah, so that's hit to zero. You can download a free thingy and have a go of it if you're interested. I haven't yet had a chance, but it's on my to-do list. I also came across a game called Against the Wall, which is a sort of fantasy game where you are a magey type person and you have to pull bricks out of a wall so you can jump on them and climb the wall.
You basically have to scale a wall. I heard about this about a year ago, and it sounded a bit mad when I heard of it first, but I'm quite excited for this. And when I heard it was on Greenlight and it had Linux as one of the platforms, I squeed.
Yeah, as soon as I saw a trailer for it, or gameplay video, sorry, as soon as I saw a gameplay video of it, I was pretty excited and shot a tweet off to the developer asking whether or not they were planning to do a simultaneous launch for Linux. And he pretty much said, yep, want to do every platform we can. It's great.
Good.
It looked like it was done using Unity.
Yeah, it is done with Unity.
And some of the sound effects somehow sound a lot like the assets in Cairo, another Unity game, which is a first-person puzzle exploration game.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of the things for anybody who's not aware or hasn't been sort of following how Unity works is that they've got this kind of built-in marketplace stuff where you can make like a bunch of models or a bunch of animations or a bunch of textures and a bunch of sounds, and you can upload these to the marketplace, and other developers can buy them from you. And so what we end up seeing is cross-pollination of content, and that's probably why you're hearing similarities between games. It's not that uncommon to find shared textures between stuff, to find shared models and animation between things as well. It's empowering for developers with not many resources, but it's certainly unusual. It's not something that you really expect to see as a gamer when you pick up a game, you know. Yeah, interesting.
So, what else do we have to discuss on this one?
I was going to say, for anybody who hasn't heard of Hero Against the Wall, that if you've heard of Cube, QUBE, which I think is quick understanding of block extrusion, it's kind of similar to that. But aside from it getting a simultaneous Linux launch and looking kind of neat, I don't know that there's much more that I can say about it.
So, moving on.
Yeah, so recently, as in a couple of days ago, Don't Starve got an update with workshop support and a whole bunch of new content, new craftable things, new enemies, new other things. Sorry guys. It now has a death screen where you can look at all the different ways that you've previously died, because the game really likes to remind you that you suck at it. But yeah, like workshop support's probably the really big notable feature there, and they're supporting mods and user-created content. It's gonna be really interesting to see where people go with that.
The advice in the game title is a bit difficult to follow at times.
You think?
Yeah, I have to say, food is always my biggest problem.
I've starved to death too many times.
Have you played it, John?
Oh yeah, loads.
It's great. I have not had anywhere near as much time to play that as I would like. I think longest I've lasted, I think, is 14 days. And I never seem to be well fed enough or well stocked up enough on resources to be able to build defenses.
That's the thing, yeah. I may be into like 150 days.
Are you serious?
But with the caveat that I did a custom world, and the only change I made was I'm a very large world, and I said I would like more resources. That's all, just more stone and more. Because my first world, I couldn't find stone until about the 23rd day or something, which meant that to get gold, I had.
How do you last that long?
Oh, you mean the 150 days? It's
No, for 20 days without stone or ore.
It was very hard. I found like one stone, randomly just in a woods, and I got it's far more grindy, and I had to constantly trade with a pig to get gold to make other items, and
You can trade with pigs?
the king pig, the really fat one.
Yeah, I've seen him.
If you give it food, it will hiccup like gold as payment.
Lovely.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go to Wiki to find it out. I mean, you just try stuff. You pick it up.
This is what I love about the game, is that there's always stuff to learn when you play, no matter what your skill level is, or at least as far as I've seen, no matter what my skill level has been. Every step of the way, just before I die, I've broadened my horizons and discovered something entirely new. I have to say, the most frustrating thing though is that I think I've played maybe 15, maybe 20 games, and not really, on average, made it past 10 days. Miriam started playing yesterday, and I turned over to check out where she was at from the article I was writing at the time, and it was winter for her. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? She's playing in survival mode, just the normal settings and stuff. She's
Nice.
absolutely owning.
I've got longer seasons, and I found winter such a pain because at the time I still don't have a core box, so an awful lot of my sort of food is either crops or bees or other bits and bobs, and I've actually resorted to putting down loads of rabbit traps and collecting live rabbits in my chests, because of course if you kill the rabbits, then the meat will go rancid, but if you keep them alive, it doesn't. So I've got chests and chests and chests of live rabbits that I'm stocking up for winter. It sounds awful, but
Can you build rabbit hutches? I mean, I was kind of assuming that there would be some kind of livestock stuff.
No, sadly not.
Yeah, okay.
Not yet. There's a bird cage, but I haven't actually found farming for seeds particularly beneficial, because seeds they have a really short expiration date if you don't have an ice box, which I still don't have. So I feed a pumpkin to a bird, it might give me a pumpkin seed and normal seeds, which isn't helpful. You always need to have more seeds out from the fruit than not, and that isn't always the case. So without an ice box, it severely limits what you can do in winter, and an awful lot of your farming. So then you have to look at some other stuff like bees, and then you have to look at picking up flowers and planting them again. And I like it because all the different mechanics are sort of related. So doing little bits of one thing will teach you more about something else, and it's really well constructed.
It is, and it's interesting, like just how long it's been playable and how long they've been gathering player feedback on the systems as they've been developing them. They've paid a lot of attention and put a lot of polish onto the cogs that drive the game's world and stuff. And you said you played it as well, Meklu?
Yeah, but right until now I didn't know there were seasons in the game.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Everything grows slower, so trees take an age to go up. Bees don't produce honey so much. Crops just won't. Yeah, have fun.
And you've got to keep yourself warm because you'll freeze to death.
Yes, so the best thing to do is to get a...
What? I wouldn't freeze to death. I'm a Finn.
Yeah, you would.
No.
You need to get a beefalo hat.
I would not freeze to death.
Or a nice woolen jacket or something.
Miriam had like a tree guardian chasing her earlier today as well.
Shorts and a t-shirt is plenty enough for -20 Celsius.
I hate tree guardians. They're the worst.
In the end, she kited it into a herd of beefalo, and they dealt with it for her, which I thought was a pretty clever tactic. She tried setting fire to it, but that didn't really work. They got huge reach on them. But yeah, so moving on again. Lively Ivy, for anybody who's familiar with her, has just recently announced that her upcoming game Gravity Ghost will be available for pre-order. It will be tomorrow, I think, as we're recording this. And yeah, it's kind of really interesting looking game. You had a bit of a look at it as well, John. What did you think?
I think I commented that the storyline seems absolutely mad. But game mechanics-wise, it's sort of... Imagine Angry Birds space without, the slingshot. You just generically control a gravitational object, and you have to collect items and bits and bobs. It seems quite a casual game, but it might be enjoyable. I'd like to see how the game progresses into something deeper as it gets, later into the game.
Yeah, it does look like they're, sort of starts to get more challenging, more puzzly. It looks like there's some non-linearity as well, where you get stuff from one level that you need to then take back to a different level, which opens up a interesting aspect of gameplay for something like that. The artwork's pretty cute as well. That was what caught my eye to begin with. So upcoming as well, within the next few days as we record this, Natural Selection 2 will be showing up for people to install.
Well, it's already showing up and available to install, but the binaries still pop up on the 30th of this month.
Yeah, okay, so it's installing without any content, or just without the binaries?
It installs the content, but no binaries at all, I don't think.
Yeah, okay. Sweet.
So that's something to look forward to, and assuming you've got it, we might get you to, drop us a note to talk about it next time.
Yeah, I think I'll be picking it up once it's released. I kind of kicked myself for missing out on the free Humble Bundle pay what you want sale that they had with Overgrowth and Natural Selection.
Well, that was ages ago. Oh dear. That was
pre-Humble Bundle, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was before any of the bundles.
That was what inspired the first Humble Bundle.
I'm not sure if I ever bought that. I might have to find out.
It'll show up in your Humble store login if you've got it. But yeah, I kind of was thinking of picking it up at that time, and then afterwards I kind of held off because they said that Linux support was sort of on their roadmap somewhere, but they weren't sure when they were going to get to it, and I figured that it would be better for me to just wait. I had played a bit of Nuclear Dawn, which is sort of similar, I guess.
Kinda sorta similar, but all the fans of both the games they tend to disagree with that sentiment for understandable reasons.
I kind of get the feeling that if Nuclear Dawn had have made it to Linux before Natural Selection 2, that it probably would have been more well received, would have probably gotten more attention, but I suspect that when Natural Selection is firmly ensconced, that people won't bother to give much attention to Nuclear Dawn if it shows up, which is kind of sad because I enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah, Natural Selection has a fairly, renowned brand. It's known.
Yeah.
And it's been there for years, and the second iteration was released some year. We have researched this thoroughly.
But yeah, it has been around for a while, and I think that they had the kind of open development thing where the community got to play, pre-release builds of the game and help grow it. Really helped them solidify a lot of their core community, and that was definitely a big part of them getting the kind of reach that they have now. And on that note, I think we should probably wrap up, unless you guys had anything else that you wanted to quickly cover before we sign off.
No, I think I'm ready to get into Left 4 Dead. So thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.